First episode releasing in the month of September. It is Friday, September 3rd. Jack McMullen, Peter Apple. We're not screwing around with an intro. We're just getting right into the first of our two conversations with friends of the program. Dustin Demeter is a big Dodger fan. He also is pretty good at playing baseball, but I guess we really had him on to talk about the team that is not going to relinquish the National League West.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Dustin, and we haven't even spoke in about a week now, and usually we speak more often than that. So I'm actually curious. You're now at Oral Roberts University. You just played 4 years at University of Hawaii. I'm just curious how the COVID stuff is going on. I know that there's probably a big difference between Hawaii and Oklahoma.
Definitely. I mean, it's night and day. Like in Hawaii, we had the protocols. We were getting tested pretty frequently. And then I come out here and, like you can go into like Walmart and nobody's wearing a mask. And that's not the case largely on the West Coast, especially in California and Hawaii, like where I've been. Like it's very like mask up and everybody's, following the protocols and whatnot. But out here, it's just more like, we're getting tested for COVID. You gotta pass your COVID test. And if you fail, obviously you got to quarantine. But it's a lot less strict out here. We're not wearing masks in the locker room, nothing like that, which I think is like state mandates. So it just largely depends on what state you're in.
Are you going to be a big Oral Roberts basketball fan now with Asmus and O'Banner? I think they both transferred, but that was a heck of a run. And you did you sign on for Oral Roberts because of the Sweet 16 run?
Definitely not, but it's definitely a nice added bonus. Excited to watch the basketball team. We had a good one at Hawaii too. We were in that top 64 a couple years ago, but we'll see how it goes.
So let's just get straight into the Dodger conversation, because on our last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago, we made some World Series predictions. Aram had the Brewers facing off against the White Sox, and I have the Tampa Bay Rays facing off against your Los Angeles Dodgers. Do you see them making the World Series? Simple question.
I mean, yeah. I think that the Dodgers are going to match up with anybody really well. A team that definitely scares me is the Brewers, because they got that 3-headed monster and, they play good defense. They're a good baseball team. The counter to that with the Dodgers is they also have a 4-headed monster. And it's just kind of like, who do you prefer? Buehler, Scherzer, Urias, and Kershaw, or, Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. And, I think the Brewers bullpen is disgusting. So I think that'd be a really low scoring series. But then again, you got the Dodgers offense that can just click at any time and just put up like a 10 spot on you. So
and the thing about the Dodgers also is that the Dodgers really crush right-handed pitching, not as much left-handed pitching. And if they're going to go face those 3 right-handers, that's not as big of a problem for the Dodgers as it might be for some other teams.
Yeah, the Dodgers, going back probably to 2019, 2017, like they've always crushed high-octane right-handed pitchers. Guys like Blake Snell always carves against us.
Max Fried last night.
Starters. Yep, Max Fried last night. They put a couple of runs up early, but he was pretty much cruising after that. They struggle hitting left-handers. That's why, like, if the wild card happens, let's say the Dodgers fall out of first place, because they're in first place now, and they got to face Snell, like that would scare the shit out of me, no doubt about it. Because Snell can dominate the Dodgers, and he's been looking so good lately.
So good.
So that would scare me. No, not like the wild card's obviously scary, but like if you're thinking about how we match up with the Reds or the Cardinals or even the Mets, Phillies, like
you're not worried.
I think they'll be all right.
Dude, how fun would Snell Buehler in the wild card game be, considering we just saw that matchup go 16 innings like a week ago?
That would be absolutely electric.
Is that who you'd start in the wild card game? Is that who you'd start?
No doubt
over
about
Scherzer?
It. No doubt about it.
Still Max Scherzer.
Oh, Scherzer is so good.
I know.
Scherzer is so good, but Walker Buehler, like for my money, is probably the the third best pitcher in the league right now. Scherzer's probably like more like 5 to 7.
Yeah.
But Buehler he's hit another level. And like when he gets in the playoffs and he's pumping, like he's working at like 93 to 97 right now. He'll be pumping 95, 99 with like 5 pitches. So yeah, you go Buehler for sure.
Right. And we talk about Scherzer being a gamer, right? We talk about him stepping up. Like Walker Buehler is the youngest gamer in the league. We already know that he's going to rise to the occasion, and he's 26, I think.
God. That's about right. She's
now,
good.
Just jumping into the standings right now, like I don't think you're going to need to have to throw Walker Buehler in a wild card situation. Dodgers are 7-3 over their last 10. Milwaukee is 7-3 over their last 10. Those are the 2 hottest teams in the National League right now. I really don't see a world where the Dodgers cough up this NL West. I think that they progress better than San Francisco. Am I like off in that thinking? I understand we were off on San Francisco from the jump, but I feel like now that they have a taste of what the division lead feels like for the first time since the end of April, there's just no way in hell they're giving that up.
I think you're right. Like I really think that you're right, but the Giants just pound out wins. Like I've been calling the Giants like, yeah, they're like the Rays of the National League. Like they platoon guys, they have their regulars, they give guys days off, they can pitch it with anybody, they play defense with anybody. They're the Rays of the National League, and I keep thinking they're going to fall off too, but it just seems like they just keep pounding out wins. So I think this next series, I think they play the Giants Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think the Dodgers need to make a statement and either take 2 or 3 or sweep the Giants, because I just think that the Giants they're winning machines. So
they are a winning machine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're right, but I would not count out the Giants as much as it pains me to say. I wouldn't count out the Giants.
And we've talked a lot about the star power in LA. I mean, they got fucking Trey Turner and Max Scherzer at the deadline. They're stacked. And then we talked about the rotation as well. But I'm actually interested in how the lineup is going to shape out come playoff time. You guys got 4 outfielders that all are, you know, arguably deserving of starting in a playoff role. You got Mookie Betts. You got freaking shit, my mind.
Don't blank now.
My mind just blanked. You got Cody Bellinger, you got AJ Pollock, and you got Chris Taylor, and you got Mookie Betts. My mind randomly blanked there. How are you shaping up that outfield?
So I don't think you can bench. You definitely right now, you cannot bench AJ Pollock. That guy is he's been an absolute monster the second half. He keeps getting big hits. Last night, he had the bottom of the 8th, base it to the left side, scored Turner, and he just keeps getting big hits for the Dodgers. So, like, I think you have to throw him in left field. So then you're talking about Chris Taylor and Cody Bellinger in center. So the way I would handle that is I think the bolt goes to Chris Taylor because he just consistently pounds out great at-bats. You know, he's above average everywhere in the field. Probably center field, you're pushing a little bit, but like he's probably an average center fielder. The flip side of that is Bellinger is absolutely an elite defensive center fielder. Like he tracks down balls that you don't think people can catch. So the way I think I would handle it is if you got definitely Bellinger's on the bench against lefties. But if you got like a high octane, high spin right-hander, like a Brandon Woodruff, maybe even a Corbin Burns, he's more sinker cutter. But I mean, Bellinger is so bad right now that unless it is right down the middle and under 94 miles an hour, like he's probably not going to hit it. Like he's been probably, I'd be interested to see this, but he might be the worst hitter in Major League Baseball this year. It is hard to watch that guy hit. But then you talk about like, you know, if you got like Will Smith in there and you got the full lineup, I mean, it's so loaded that you could argue that giving a little offensive firepower away for some defense is clean. Like you could do that. But I think Chris Taylor's bat is probably needs to be in the lineup the majority of the time. And you're probably looking at Bellinger sitting.
It's crazy that we're talking about the 2019 MVP sitting. Like,
Right.
Crazy.
No, I mean, this is the Dodger dilemma. You are either benching an all-star this year in Chris Taylor or an NL MVP 2 years ago. Like, that's so screwed up. I was looking at the lineup graphic that the Dodgers put out a couple of nights ago, and I just want to run through the defensive alignment. Will Smith, the catcher, we think is one of the best catchers in baseball. Top 3,
He is.
if not number
Yep.
2. First base, Max Muncy, who in any other year could probably finish top 3 in NL MVP voting. He might still finish
he
top
might
3
still
in
do
NL
it,
MVP
which is
voting.
insane.
Trey Turner might finish top 5 in NL MVP voting. He's the second baseman. Shortstop, Corey Seager, who is still Corey frickin' Seager. Justin Turner is a top 10 NL MVP vote getter. In left, you've got A.J. Pollock, who's hitting the crap out of the ball. In center, we just walked through that dilemma. So you either have an all-star or an MVP in his mid-20s. And then in right, you've got a top 5 player in baseball in Mookie Betts. And then on the mound, you've got your option of a first ballot Hall of Famer in Clayton Kershaw, possibly another first ballot Hall of Famer in Max Scherzer, and a top 3 pitcher in baseball right now in Walker Buehler. And if I'm not mistaken, Julio Urias is still leading Major League Baseball in wins.
I mean, it's a good dilemma to have.
Talk
not
about
a
the
dilemma, dude.
bullpen too,
that
because
is-
nobody talks about their bullpen either. Like Trinan, they have so many. Kenley Jansen is even having a good year. What have you seen from the Dodgers bullpen?
Can we hold on? Can we take a moment to just realize how freaking stupid what I just walked through was? Like, a baseball team should not be constructed like that. Even when you look at the Lakers with Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, like, yes, that was an all-star team in 2012. Melo, yes, 2012, but it's like 8 years senior that. Like, no team, regardless of sport, should be this good in real time. And the Dodgers, like, constructed right now, are the best team in sports, bar none.
Yeah, it's like watching an all-star team. And back to what you said about the bullpen, Pete, I think that it's going to be fine because they found some diamonds in the rough. Corey Knievel's been nasty. He's been struggling a little bit lately, I think, but I mean, that fastball and curveball is going to play. The only thing about the Dodger bullpen that concerns me is there's no lockdown left-handed reliever. You're talking about David Price. Danny Duffy's still a couple of weeks away. So you don't know what you're getting out of Danny Duffy. And that's about it. You got Clevenger, but he throws gas, but he hasn't put up like exactly lockdown numbers. Then you got Scott Alexander. I mean, the left-handed bullpen of the Dodgers is not great. Their right-handers are electric. Everybody throws 98. But that could be a problem come playoff time. You got big left-handed bats coming up. We don't really have anybody to counter that with.
So we found one weakness. They don't have a great left-handed reliever. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
And also, I'm also curious about this too, because we haven't spoken with you since we ranked the managers. And we had Dave Roberts as our number 2 manager in the new school. We had like the Tino Franconas of the world. They were in the old school. The new school managers, we had him at 2. I'm curious, do you think Dave Roberts is a really good manager, and do you have full faith in him going into the playoffs this year again?
That's a tough question. I mean, he's made so many like decisions come in the playoffs where it's just like, what are you doing with the bullpen? Just consistently trusting Kenley Jansen, going to Kershaw in 2019. Last year he showed some big time balls, riding with Julio Urias to close out both the NLCS and the World Series. I think he manages the locker room like incredibly well. I think his players love him. I think he manages playing time with the best of them, but I don't like his bullpen decisions. And I think a lot of Dodger fans would agree with me on that. So I would not say I love Dave Roberts, the person, because he's just always smiling, like he's always having a good time out there. I don't think he's a very good manager of the bullpen.
You know, you can hate the Dodgers for the money they spend and the luxury tax penalties they're willing to accrue. But kind of speaking to your point about Dave Roberts and his leadership skills, you're not going to hate them for morality's sake. especially with the way they handled Trevor Bauer this year. They're supposed to have last year's NL Cy Young on this team, and Bauer obviously is a piece of shit, and he's not on this team right now. And it's very clear from the top down that they don't want him in a Dodger uniform ever again. Like, that is a sign of really good leadership, I think, from Dave Roberts, everybody else kind of having this consensus. So this is, if you don't want to root for them because the money thing, that's fine. But this is a really easy group of people to root for. And if they win, like, I'm not going to be too pissed.
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking to my buddy about that. It's like, you really can't, you want to hate the Dodgers, but they got a bunch of likable guys on the team. Like, there's no way around it. Like, you're not going to hate Corey Seager. You're not going to hate Justin Turner. Like, they don't have any like Altuves or Correas on the team. Like, it's a bunch of good dudes. So, I mean, it's easy to root for them. That's for sure.
And Mookie, I mean, out of all of them, Mookie, I feel like, is the most likable guy too. And even a guy like Bellinger, he's so likable too. I feel like all these guys, and there's like just like this general aura around the Dodgers now. I feel like getting the monkey off their back last year, winning a championship, and now this year they're just going to be revved up to do it again.
Yeah, I think Mookie Betts is the reason for that. Like, I think he sets the tone that there's, he's not taking reps off in practice. You hear about it all the time, the crazy work ethic that guy has. And I remember a story that came out, and I'm sure you guys do too, where he first day came in and kind of lit everybody up and said, hey, like, it's time to go. Like, we're not going to be fucking around at practice. Like, we're going to take every rep. We're going to have full focus. He started a jar. Like, you had to put like $20 every time you made an error in practice. So he just set that standard just that much higher. And that's what they needed, obviously. I mean, and then you think about like watching them play last year in the playoffs. Like, they were playing for each other. They were dropping bunts down, which you would never see the Dodgers do ever before, because Mookie Betts said, hey, this is how you win championships. Like, he's just like the ultimate winning player. He's my favorite player now. I'd kind of like fallen victim to like, Mookie doesn't like put up crazy stats. Like, I don't know if he's a top 5 player or whatever. Obviously aside from 2018, but what he does goes so far beyond the stats. Like, I think I just can't say enough good things about Mookie Betts. Like, he's amazing.
And
Dustin,
before we leave you, before we let you go back hit in the cage, give us a World Series prediction.
Ooh. Okay, I got the Dodgers in the NL, obviously.
Give me your full thing. Who's winning? Give me the playoffs. Give me a preview.
Okay, I think the Giants win the wild card game over either the Phillies or the Padres. I kind of want to say Padres.
Not the Reds.
I kind of want to say Padres. They don't have the bullpen, I don't think. I think they're gonna cave a little bit. So I got Giants over Padres in the wild card. And then I got obviously Dodgers over Giants. I think the Dodgers are going to face the Brewers at some point. I think it's going to be an awesome series. But I think the Dodgers will probably bang it out in like 6. And then out of the AL, I really want the Yankees there. Selfishly, I want the Yankees so me and Pete can talk shit. The White Sox are interesting because I think that their position player core is so athletic, and I think their bullpen is so electric. But like me and Pete were talking about that, and I think Giolito is a big X factor there. They need Lance Lynn and Rodon healthy. So I don't think the Rays have it. I don't know why. I don't like watching the Rays.
They win.
But
They're a winning machine.
I don't watch them They're a winning machine, but they're similar to the Giants to me. Like, I want to see stars. Like,
they're also similar to the Dodgers. Remember you were talking about Dodgers hit high octane righties? Rays are the same thing. You have a good righty going up against the Rays. I look at that box score and I'm like, the Rays are going to win this game. And more often than not, they do.
Yeah, the Rays are crazy because like last year they had this crazy starting rotation, crazy bullpen. The hitting was not good in my opinion. and now they have like their top 3 in runs scored this year. And, like
they just reversed the whole thing.
Yeah, I couldn't even name you like more than I think Shane McClanahan starts for them, and some other guys. So,
Michael Walker.
Like, that's like I said, Michael Walker. Like
Ryan
Michael Walker
Yarborough,
starting games for
Luis Patino.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Those are young guys, except aside from Walker and Yarborough, obviously. But I mean, we'll see how it pans out. I think the Yankees are a better playoff team. I think the White Sox are a better playoff team. So I think it's either going to be the Yankees or the White Sox. That's what I got for you in the AL.
Astros.
And I think the Dodgers are going to. I forgot about the Astros. The Astros are amazing. It's one of those 3 teams. Man, the Astros. Because the Astros, is Justin Verlander coming back? Like, that could happen.
I don't know. That's what we're thinking too. Jack, do you have any idea? I side with I don't think he will. Or at least he won't be ready come playoff time, like come World Series time.
I've got zero idea.
McCullers is amazing when he's on. Like, amazing.
Greinke.
People don't realize how good he is when he's on. Like, he's unhittable. It's no hit stuff. They got like Javier. It's going to be tight. Like, it's going to be tight between those 3 teams because I think they all stack up pretty close.
Well, you got to give a prediction. What are you going to leave with 3 favorites?
I got the Astros then. I forgot about them.
Forgot about them, and now they're in the World Series?
I think their offense is the most electric offense, maybe aside from the Dodgers, but up and down, like there's no bad at-bats in that lineup. So I think I got the Astros.
All right.
Astros, Dodgers, run it back from 2017.
And you better beat them.
The Dodgers will beat the Astros.
All right, Dustin Demeter, appreciate you, man, as always.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dustin.
Pete, you and I have done a very new thing for the podcast. We're not recording any intro, outro, and transition. We're literally just putting the whoosh sound in here. I'll cue it up again because it's really fun to listen to. And we're just going right from Dustin to Javy Reyes. I mean, this is perfect. I love this. Javy, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I am rocking the Blue Barracuda shirt. I'm feeling good. Anybody who understands the Blue Barracudas, you are cool. If you don't, then you are not cool. It's just simple as that. Stop listening to the podcast. Go type in Blue Barracudas. Educate yourself. But otherwise, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just had my fantasy football draft the other day. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling lively. I like my team because I just drafted guys that I like. That's my advice for everybody. Just draft guys you like.
Who'd you draft?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I'm a big fan. I also am not cool because I don't know what Blue Barracudas are.
I also have no idea either.
The Legends of the Hidden Temple, guys. Come on. Oh my gosh. The classic Nickelodeon game show. You guys aren't familiar? Oh dear. The listeners got to be. If the listeners understand, just find me on Twitter. We'll talk about it at Javapeno. Just go nuts.
You're acting like you're comparing the Blue Barracudas to like Seinfeld. Like we should all definitely know about the Blue Barracudas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like it's just look, because I'm a proponent that, you know, you can't have uncultured swine with the Just Baseball group, I think. And I think for the most part, I know Peter's never seen a movie in his life, but like I think in general, you got to have a little bit of everything, you know.
I watched Benchwarmers.
Oh, good.
Which one?
That's a baseball movie.
Which one?
Benchwarmers.
The old one or the new one?
The only one?
No, there's two. There's two.
Really?
There's a classic one, and then there's one by Richard Linklater that wasn't that great.
Benchwarmers?
No
I'm
way.
pretty sure. No, that's Bad News Bears. That's
yeah,
what
I
I'm
was
thinking
like,
of,
no
right?
way. They had
Okay,
like
it's got to be that.
1960s Benchwarmers where kids are eating sunscreen in the dugouts.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was like, hey, you know, you update it. Who knows? I'm gonna look that up though, real quick, while you guys keep talking. The Benchwarmers.
No, I mean Benchwarmers is
2006.
Bad News Bears was multiple, but man, I think it's funny because you're wearing that shirt. Peter and I are both wearing Breaking Tees shirt. We're both repping the West Coast right now. Pete's got Oakland. I've got San Fran. You're the host of Locked On Padres. We just talked to Dustin about the Dodgers. Like, this is a West Coast show now. We don't care about the Yankees anymore, Pete. This is really
don't care.
Nope.
Thank
This
the
is
Lord.
a big step off that train. But Javy, you wrote a wonderful article on Just Baseball titled the 2021 MLB Alternative Awards. The MLB awards you didn't know you needed. And I just want to walk through award by award. these are not the MVPs and the rookies of the year. The first award is the Who the Hell Is That award. And your nominees are Cedric Mullins, Darren Ruff, and Nestor Cortez. I think this one kind of explains itself.
Yeah.
Where the hell did they come from?
Yeah, there's a couple awards here that we'll get to that are very much like kind of inexplicable. Like, look, and I mentioned this in the article. I was watching Palm Springs while I wrote this. I was just feeling myself. I just said, you know what? Let's just get as crazy as possible with it. Who needs regular titles? There's too many regular titles for everything in life, you know? So in this case, I decided Cedric Mullins was the winner here because I was just like, look, man, I cover baseball and I understand the Padres is my focus, but I had never really heard of this guy before. The only way I heard of this guy was in my fantasy draft. And I was like, oh, cool. Someone took the Baltimore Orioles outfielder, whatever. Like, I don't care. I'd heard of Ryan Mountcastle. I'd heard of Trey Mancini for a variety of reasons, but Cedric Mullins to not only just be a good player, but like an MVP quality outfielder for Baltimore is just, it's peak baseball madness. I love it every single year that it happens. There's always a Ram Bob. Kyle Lewis was a little bit like this last year for me. And I love it. And every year there's always that guy that nobody really knows who they're talking about. That's not a big prospect necessarily. And then they break out. And that's what I think baseball dreams are made of.
Agreed. I mean, Cedric Mullins, he was on our top 10 surprises list at number 10, because this wasn't a guy who had a lot of really good years, maybe like a Jesse Winker, and then finally hit home in 2021. But this was a guy who hit 271, which is okay, but he was on base at 315. He was slugging only 407. And now this year he's hitting 306, on base percentage at 370, and he's slugging 529. So I would agree. I think he's perfectly sits in the Who the Hell Is That award. But I also think Nestor Cortez definitely deserves some love because he's kind of like the new age Johnny Cueto.
Nestor Cortez was really close. I decided Mullins only because of smaller sample size and because it's a pitcher, because it's been recent. But in fairness, Nestor Cortez has become like the heartthrob of New York, Seriously. Man. I mean, it's like, as someone who's been watching the Yankees game, because I'm on the East Coast, so it's sometimes easier to just have that on because it's, 7:00 versus me staying up until 3 a.m. Like, I put on the Yankees and it's just this mustachioed wonder, this fireball hurler. What happens? It's just in general, the everything that's happened. Yeah, exactly. Everything that's happened with the Yankees. And I love those like Nestor Cortez fireball shirts from RotoWear. Those are really cool. Like all the little fan art, all the little memes about him. It's pretty fun. If it was a little bit longer, I think he gets the award, but I think I'm just going to go with the guy that nobody really knows. I actually wager that nobody even knows who he still is, to be honest with you, aside from like, AL East watchers.
Dude, I mean, Cedric Mullins, Darren Ruff, that's the same thing too. Like, I could go to my 18-year-old brother who considers himself a baseball fan and say, do you know who Darren Ruff is? And he would say, probably not. And I'm like, okay, well.
You might know him this year, but before that, I don't think I would have been able to say it, man.
He might not even know who he is anymore. Like, still. Like, that's the West Coast problem. And we're three people that watch baseball on the West Coast. So how about that? Next award, the Biff Tannen Award for most inexplicable performance you wouldn't have predicted unless you were from the future. That's a very long title.
Who the hell is Biff Tannen?
There it is, folks. If you guys thought I was kidding about Peter has never watched a movie before, here you go. It's a reference to the character from Back to the Future Part 2, who basically,
never seen
spoiler alert for a 30-year-old, 40-year-old movie. He like acquires a sports almanac from the year like 2020. This movie came out 40 years ago. Keep that in mind, guys. And then he basically uses that to predict every single thing that ever happens, even including upsets that happen at the last second that nobody ever saw. Like, he probably predicted, what was it? The Auburn kickoff return against Alabama. He probably predicted that, for example, and no one would have predicted that in their right mind. They would think you're crazy and probably suicidal, to be honest with you, if you're betting that much money on them in that sort of perfect kind of situation. So this was for just a genuine thing you just could not predict. And a lot of it is based a little bit on, like I mentioned with the Auburn thing, that's kind of the end of the game. We've been watching this already. And you've seen Brandon Crawford play before. Nothing has ever indicated that he had this in him. And he was, I believe, did I give it to Brandon Crawford? I'm forgetting now. Yes, believe I gave it to him. Who were the nominees again?
Nominees were Brandon Crawford, who won, Robbie Ray, Joey Votto, and who I think should have won, Adam Wainwright.
It's close. The more I think about it, maybe Votto shouldn't have been in there because he is a potential Hall of Famer. I just don't think I saw with all the injuries that he became a
Power, I
slugging
think.
monster. Yeah, the
power that
power I
kinda
think
came
was
out of
just
nowhere.
so. I could see him being like remember like Joe Mauer late in his career. He was still a pretty decent on base guy, but the power was completely gone. Like that's what I kind of expected from Joey Votto, to be honest with you. Just on base dude, Tyler Wade-esque, dare I say, to use another Yankee thing for Peter. But Robbie Ray, I don't know if you
Comparing
guys
Joey
know this.
Votto's on base talents to Tyler Wade, I'll take it. I don't know if it's accurate.
That's
though.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
know.
that ever again.
That was really bad. That was really heinous. I'm sorry. But with Robbie Ray, who was another nominee that was very close, this is a dude who was I'm not kidding. Everyone thinks I'm kidding about this. One of my favorite pitchers for the past couple of years because he was a disaster. Every Robbie Ray start, it was walk, home run, or strikeout. He was the modern day batter of pitchers. Go look up his season last year. It was like
He was like Joey Gallo
ERA.
of pitchers.
Yeah, it was like the 7.8 ERA, 1.9 whip, and then a K per nine of like 13. It was like awesome. I was like, this is the most incredible thing ever. And for him to come in and not just be good, but like if absent Garrett Cole, who just had a 15 strikeout performance, unless Cole has like a bunch of meh starts at the end of the year, Robbie Ray might be the Cy Young winner this year. So that's just, there's one thing to have a regression to being a decent average pitcher. I could have predicted that a 7 ERA is not going to keep, at least I don't think. And the only reason he didn't win was because in fairness, he's been very, very good before. Back in 2017 or 2016, he was like top 10 in Cy Young voting. So that's one of the reasons I didn't give it to him. And then who's the other nominee? I think it was Adam Wainwright.
Yeah.
Who Jack thinks should have won. It was close, but again, I used the evidence of at least he's been very good before. It's happened before. Brandon Crawford, great player. Actually, just a very good player at times in his career. But where the hell did he just figure out to just hit bombs all the time? What is he slugging 700? It just didn't make any sense to me. It was a literal statistical thing he has not done before. There's a difference between being good versus being good in an area when you're 35 years old. It's very ridiculous to me.
Javi, Wainwright might have an AARP account. Like he's old as hell and he's still really good.
It's true. He is an old, and he leads the league in innings pitched. It's close. It's very close. I probably should have mentioned him more in the article, like as a possible, runner up. But I don't know, man. And also, in fairness, the Padres bias, I'm just used to seeing more Giants talk than everybody else. And I just feel like the Brandon Crawford thing has been stuck in the consciousness of my mind. The internet machinations of my mind are an enigma.
All right, Peter, name that.
No idea.
Oh
my God.
Oh,
He's a disaster.
3, you're out.
Everyone leave comments, tweet
what
at
movie?
me, tweet at Peter. It
It's
wasn't even a movie, it was
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Oh,
God.
It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster, man.
probably watched a
Javi-
handful of SpongeBob episodes in my entire life.
Javi, you want to be the co-host of the Just Baseball show now?
Why don't you just go start your own podcast where it's just movies and you can talk about all the pop culture shit? Here we'll talk about just baseball.
That's fine. Hey, White Lotus, you got to watch it. HBO
No.
Max.
It's only 6 episodes too, which I did not. Dude, always, if you want to get me on a TV show or a movie, if it's a movie, say like 95 minutes. I'll be like, oh my God, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like if I hear 2 hours 20, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's probably quite good most of the time if you're recommending it. But like time, man. And then if you tell me 6 episodes, you're done, I'm all good. But then again, when it comes to the TV thing, I'm well known to be a One Piece fan, and I'm on episode 868. So in fairness, a little hypocritical on my part, but I'm just saying that's usually what grabs me.
Majorly. Let's go to the Rule Breaker Award. This is an interesting one, and you had serious criteria to hit. The nominees, actually, I'll let you work through the criteria, and then I'll give you the nominees.
Okay, so the criteria for this award was people who broke the unwritten rules of baseball. Granted, that's a little bit more malleable of a definition. That's a little bit weird word to use in this situation, but it's, you can stretch it a little bit. Basically, unwritten rules is just guys acting the way traditional old, boomers enjoy the game of baseball, I guess, where it's just, you keep your head down, you walk around. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But oftentimes the sport is known for not allowing the other types of people who enjoy baseball, the other types of cultures that enjoy baseball, if you catch my drift. And in this case, I just felt like it needs to be discussed. I think here at Just Baseball, we all agree unwritten rules, smashing them into a million pieces.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great.
I'm out on the unwritten rules. I'm out. Swing 3-0.
I kind of like the bastion of purity that is Major League Baseball.
Shut up, Jack. He had the straightest face too.
The nominees were Javi Baez versus Amir Garrett, which is the winner. That saga was incredible.
Awesome.
Fernando Tatis Jr. versus Trevor Bauer. Nick Castellanos flexing at home plate. That happened very early on in the year against the Cardinals. And then Yermin Mercedes' swing on 3-0.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through here. There's a lot to go through here. And in fairness, since these things, like I said, baseball isn't great at covering these sort of things. So it's not like there are probably some other nominees I forgot that maybe you guys may have. But Yermin Mercedes, I took him off because it doesn't look the same now. I mean, Yermin Mercedes has had a little bit of drama outside, but I basically nominated him because of like the amount of discourse it created. It was just unbelievable. Like it was a genuine story. I know that feels like so long ago, but it actually was with Tony La Russa being upset about it and then being totally fine that his players getting thrown at the next game. Whatever. And then there was who were the other? And then Fernando Tatis Jr. versus Trevor Bauer. As the Padres guy, I'm of course going to be more inclined to go with the Padres thing. But honestly, I don't want to talk about Trevor Bauer. So it's a little bit of the reason why I didn't do that. But basically, for people who forgot, when he covered his eye after hitting the home run and when he did the little strut after hitting second home run, I thought it was great. And I think moments like that in a vacuum, forget the players that were involved, are incredibly good for baseball because it creates the gifts. Whatever. Look at the NFL right now. The NFL just, rolled back and started installing taunting penalties. And it's like, hey, last time I checked, that GIF at the Super Bowl of the Buccaneers defender flipping the bird to the Chiefs player, that was hilarious. And more people become aware of your sport. Granted, football has a little bit more leeway because they control all of us. We've all been brainwashed into just following football like idiots every single year.
Roger Goodell's chair for the draft is in a museum. Cushy ass chair is in a museum. That's how much we abide by football. Fuck that.
True.
I think
so that happens.
I think the Javier Baez versus Amir Garrett thing is so the winner here. Mm-hmm. That highlight of him rowing the boat against Amir Garrett is,
oh my God,
maybe the most electric highlight of the season so far. And it's like the breaking the written rule of flipping the bat. He didn't even flip the bat. He just walked to first and he was just screaming at Amir Garrett. That beef is going to be here for a lot longer than that instance.
Okay. Now hear me out here, being Ebenezer Scrooge. Did part of you say, just put the bat down, jackass? Like,
no, I loved it.
No. And look, Jack. Look at Jack in the high and mighty. You think you're better than me? To quote the great American philosopher, Happy Gilmore. It's just like, do you know what that is, Pete?
Yes, Happy Gilmore. Great movie. Golf.
I'm gonna do my best to make a pop culture reference in every single award for the rest of the show.
I'll try.
But it's like you think that's what Javi Baez would say to Jack McMullen right now. And the way I see it is, when we encourage unwritten rules, and I mentioned this in the article, it's okay if players who have no business actually flexing or feeling great about themselves in terms of just playing well. I encourage everybody to. You should feel, but you're at Major League Baseball level. As far as I'm concerned, you can do whatever the heck you want when it comes to celebrating your hits. I don't care. But when it comes to bottom lines, Javi Baez is just more, exteriorly exciting than the actual substance, which is a strikeout rate. Jack hates him, and I think Jack is a coward for backing away like this, like just a traitor. You know what I mean? For backing away.
Listen,
Baez.
man, I used to love Javi Baez. As somebody that texted you, I texted you this verbatim. As somebody that used to love Javi Baez, I don't like Javi Baez anymore because he's just rearing his head right now, and he made other people look for his earring. If you lose your earring at home plate, look for your own damn earring.
I disagree. I would have demanded that Sandy Alderson, after the BS that the Mets came out with that statement, no. You guys are going to kill me more than you kill, what's his face? The GM. You're going to kill Jared Porter. You're going to kill I get the worst of it. No. You're going to go on your knees. I'm going to record it. All right. And then you're going to go give me a fee. That's what I would be doing if I was Javi Baez. Now, granted, he doesn't have that power because he's also a free agent after this year and has been playing all that well. But I think that there's fun to be had for the guys that, in terms of how they are playing, don't have any business. I was watching that live I was like, what is going on? He is taking it not just to 100, but to another, solar system. You know what I mean? In Men in Black, when it zooms out at the very end and it shows how small we are in the scheme of things, that's how far and out of control this thing got. There you go.
Pete,
Peter,
you got that one?
again.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, I think Javy Baez, it was just so unnecessary, so petty. I loved it. I adored it. And also, it wasn't even a home run. It was like something that might have been caught, maybe. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was so much fun.
Oh, all right. Next one, the Fanbase Legend Award.
Mm.
I like this because it's just cult hero.
Mhm.
Nominees were the Padres' Ha-Sung Kim, Jason Dominguez, and Andrew Velasquez. Pete. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, and then Bryn Sanity, Lewis Brinson.
Oh, yeah. See, now I wish I wrote a little bit more about some of the other nominees. I gave it to Jason Dominguez, which shouldn't surprise anybody who are longtime Just Baseball listeners. You guys have had people from the New York Post talk about how overrated this guy is a prospect. We had Eric Hubbs on, who I don't even know what to say about that man. First of all, you won't for Ronald Acuna. I'm gonna just text in the chat from now on in all caps for Ronald Acuna Jr. just throughout the day sporadically. Like, I couldn't believe that. He's the most overrated prospect I've seen. He could be good. Let me be very clear. It's not based on his talents. It's just more based on the Yankees fans acting like he is, the almighty one, that he's omnipotent, that he can't be stopped, when you have guys who are already going to be maybe major league ready a lot sooner than him. So Jason Dominguez wins that award. Ha-Sung Kim, again, this is a Padres bias, but he's not even playing all that well. He's a great defender, but people always love posting like that Vogue quality cover shoot magazine photo that he did. Just such a handsome guy. He's got the yellow hair and everything. He's just so much fun to watch, even though bring down that pull percentage just a little bit, my guy. Just get me one single. That I would really appreciate that, just a little bit. I appreciate that. Andrew Velasquez, again, sample size, has not played enough, but he's from the Bronx. My mom is from the Bronx. He's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. We're let's just say the Reyes household is absolutely lit out of its mind every time he comes up to bat. And then Isaiah Kiner Falefa. This is a little bit of a weird one, but I did it because do you guys remember when he was kind of publicly and the Rangers fans were getting on everybody for not voting him for All-Star?
Oh, yeah.
I just thought it was absurd. I was like, guys, welcome. This is what I can't stand about All-Star voting. This happens in the NBA too. There's a lot of talent. Sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean? It happens. Like shortstop, maybe like a few years ago when Hanley Ramirez and Ian Desmond, that's another story, by the way, for why I love Ian Desmond. You guys will never believe that. But like, there's a lot of guys at shortstop. Francisco Lindor, Javy Baez years ago would have been viewed as a top 10 shortstop because of how shallow the position was. But nowadays it's like, all right, dude, you're a good glove, but you're, what are you, a 310 on base guy? Like, it's just not all that impressive. And it was only like 3 weeks into the season. Calm down, everybody. That was just a little bit ridiculous. And again,
but you still put him there.
Yeah, I still think he deserves a nominee because it's a fan base thing. These aren't necessarily good players. It's just guys that are being talked about more in their own fan circle than literally anywhere else. Nobody talks about Isaiah Kiner Falefa. I guarantee it, except for shout out Kendall McGee. But yeah.
Aside from Kendall McGee, can you name a single Rangers fan? Like, do you know
single?
One?
Yeah, I know one because Locked On Network, shameless plug, shout out Bryce Pateriga, Locked On Rangers. But otherwise, I don't know, man. And granted, it is a big team. It's not like this isn't a small market team, but it's just, who the heck is talking about the Rangers right now? Nobody. They're all depressed.
No one. We got 2 more awards. The Remedial Chaos Theory Award for Darkest Timeline. This is good. This puts you in a bad headspace on a Friday. The nominees were the Braves season going to hell, Jacob deGrom's health, the Dodgers acquiring Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, and everything Tony La Russa.
I feel like we already touched on it a little bit with the Urban Mercedes thing. Everything Tony La Russa. Your player gets hit in the head. The first thing you do is not check on your player, but you're going to like yell at somebody. An unwritten rule kind of, he favors them clearly. So we don't need to talk about that much. That was just him getting hired was just counterproductive to what type of team the White Sox are. Thankfully, they are good enough. So he does not win this. Then that's where it gets interesting, right? So the Atlanta Braves season going to hell, for everybody who's going to yell at me in the comments, I'm just talking about their whole team just being decimated. We actually just got the news, or it just happened the other day, that Ozzie Albies got carted off the field. So this article came out before that happened, but aside from just that, Ronald Acuna Jr., Marcell Ozuna, Mike Soroka setback, Max Fried having a kind of a step back year. Just everything for the Braves this year kind of went wrong, but they're still winning first place. So I didn't give it to them because they are, they've come back from the abyss.
Yeah, you weren't really talking
Atlanta
about
fans.
the record. It was more about just how the Braves season unfolded, because maybe fully healthy, considering they're still in first place right now. I mean, you put Marcell Ozuna on that team. Let's say Ronald Acuna never gets hurt. Mike Soroka never gets hurt. All things, if they stayed healthy the entire year, we're maybe looking at maybe the second or third best team in the National League and easily a top 5 team in baseball.
Yeah, probably. Not to mention Freddie Freeman had a slow start. Just every single thing that you come up with. Charlie Morton not as great as expected. The poor Atlanta fans, man. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not an Atlanta fan, but I remember that Super Bowl. I was depressed. You could have healed the nation if you beat the New England Patriots. I promise you, people would have been so lit for like another week. But I didn't give it to them because, in fairness, they have been playing well, at least at the minimum. And then that leaves the other two. I forgot one of them, but let's go. Dodgers getting Trey Turner, Max Scherzer. Again, Padres bias coming out here. Look, it's just, you guys talked about it. You guys talked about the issue of, money in this sport and whether or not, teams, it's getting out of control. And, I'm just saying, I talked about this on the last podcast. Who the heck cares if the Dodgers win, man? They're so whacked. They're feeling like Golden State Warriors vibes. I'm not saying smart, the teams that spend $25 million a year aren't also to blame for the fact that the Dodgers just get to scoop up everybody. They are, but it was just rough. You threw Trey Turner in there. Like, when you order French fries and you get like the onion ring by accident sometimes from like Burger King or McDonald's.
I kind of wanted the onion rings instead.
Yeah, you kind of want the onion rings instead too, but also it's just like, oh, bonus, why not? That's what happened with Trey Turner. What the hell is going on? You should have asked for at least one major league roster player. I cannot believe. I'm telling you, what's his name? Mike Rizzo. This is a Manchurian candidate. I'm telling you, he's a sleeper agent for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They were waiting to activate him because they got too scared by the San Francisco Giants. They were like, we need to bring in Weapon X. Let him sell his best players to us for essentially, in my opinion, not all that much. Yell at me about the prospect numbers all you want. So that's who ended up winning. But I do admit there's a bias. What was the last entry?
I don't know. Well, a couple of quick follow-ups here.
Go ahead.
You missed a golden opportunity to bring up the Atlanta Thrashers when you talk about Atlanta sports scenes depression. Like, the Thrashers just up and left and went to Winnipeg, Canada. Also, another pop culture reference here, because you haven't made one in this award. Did the Dodgers activate Mike Rizzo using the song Relax?
I don't know, man. He might have. I'll give you some other pop culture.
I almost know that one.
You know that one. You know it. Come on.
Do it, Pete.
It's from the Ben Stiller movie.
Yes.
Ah, shit. What's the name? I know he's like a fashion model.
Yes. Come on. You're getting so warm. You're so warm.
Nah, I don't got it. What's it called?
Looks, Blue Steel, Magnum.
Yeah. Couldn't tell you
what is this? A school for ants?
Owen Wilson is in it.
Yes, that Hansel is so hot right now.
Yes, the Hansel. What's the damn name of the movie?
Zoolander.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of them. And also, Jack, I did make some pop culture references of the thing. The Remedial Chaos Theory Award. This is in reference to Community, the episode that won them an Emmy. It is about all of the characters getting together, and there is literally a dark timeline that spawns off of something as small as a dice roll. So that's what happened there. And then also, sleeper agent thing. If anyone's ever played BioShock, would you kindly? Shout out to all my game heads out there. They know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just thought that in general, the Trey Turner and Max Scherzer thing was just disheartening. Have you guys ever just been disheartened by a trade that doesn't even affect you really, because your team's either rebuilding or they're in another conference like Jack's White Sox?
Yeah, no, James Shields for Fernando Tatis Jr. was pretty tough for me.
Yeah, that one.
Hey, but you got a decent consolation prize to the most swag-tastic player of the league, aside from Tatis.
James Shields.
Oh, yeah. Yes, no, not James Shields. Well, not in that trade, but you do have Tim Anderson at shortstop, so could be worse.
No, I'm hanging with TA. TA is my guy. I lied. There are 2 more awards. The other nominee that you didn't mention was Jacob deGrom's health. We don't have to spend time on that. That just sucks, and I don't want to talk about that because
me either. It's depressing.
The Weirdo Award. This is my favorite. The cat running onto the field in New York Eloy Jimenez's jersey tribute game 1 of the year. Garrett Cole's sticky stuff press conference. I don't quite know how to answer that. And then Nick Castellanos homering after a tragedy.
Look, man, I wanted to come up with a better title. That was like the blueprint. I was just like, all right, weirdo award. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, let's just keep it. This is weirdo award. It's just an award dedicated to weird things in baseball that just happened. We had the cats running onto the field. There was literally someone who did an article, shout out Molly Knight, on like the teams that have done better dramatically ever since the cat ran onto the field, which is interesting. And, Garrett Cole, I mean, becoming kind of, unfortunately, the poster boy of the sticky stuff, which kind of stinks because who really should be is probably Yu Darvish. Shout out Yu Darvish, who's been
Karen Check's in AAA right now.
James Karinchak too.
Karinchak.
Yeah, James Karinchak. My guy went to AAA. Oh my God. So that's not going great for them. But I mean, guys, what's the meme? What's the thing people bring up every single time on baseball Twitter? Honestly, not even on baseball Twitter. It might happen for anything. People just do the, as it's a fly ball into left field, and that'll make it a 3-0 ball game. It's so funny. And I don't know why almost. You know what I mean? Like, I know what the context is of Tom Brenneman, but to a degree, I like that we've just made a meme out of it. And it's just become this thing that keeps happening.
Nick Castellanos hitting home runs after tragedies. It didn't just happen once. It didn't just happen twice. He has 26 home runs on the year. I think every single home run has been after a tragedy. He hit 2 grand slams yesterday, or at least 2 home runs. And immediately we have hurricane stuff going on.
He does it during
right
hurricane.
Under it.
Like, it's like he had that.
He contributes to the pain of the world.
And everyone's always, putting the screenshots out there. He did one early this year when someone had passed away and they were doing eulogy on air. And then he hit a home run during it. And people have joked, they're like, after a tragedy, he just becomes Barry Bonds. Like, it's incredible. It really is. There was a fan found dead, RIP, like in Mets Stadium. I'm pretty sure he hit a home run 5 minutes later. It's just very, very
horrible.
Odd. And it's the type of thing you wouldn't have predicted. You know what I mean? And I love it so much because of how eternal it is. And I think this is going to be a meme for a very long time to come.
This next award is just all of my bad takes in a paragraph.
Oh man. Yeah. What is it, Jack?
This is the Golden Peanut Award for most memorable Just Baseball staff take. And the winner from our guy, Peter Apple. Danny Duffy is an emerging ace.
Look, I mean, now I'm going to take you all behind the scenes. I did reference Jack in this. I mentioned his unrelenting hatred of Redacted as in some notable media personality. And I just thought it was hilarious when he first unleashed this to us in our group chat, because I didn't expect it. Jack is very he picks his spots. You know what I'm saying? He picks his spots in the moment of opportunity to strike. And then he just dropped a bomb one day. He was like, this person is an effing fraudulent asshole. You know what I mean? Like, he just lost his mind. And Jack has never, not that Jack doesn't dislike people, but he's never brought it with that much rage and fervor. So I'm disappointed that Aram, who also is a fraud in his own way, as he refuses to pay me back on our wager that we made 3 months ago.
It's also a fraud in his own way.
We're all frauds in our own way.
We're all frauds in our own way, but he's a particular kind of fraud because he's also a coward. You know what I mean? He refuses to back up. We made our bet in our fantasy baseball league where, whoever won our matchup, I get to choose his icon on Twitter for a week, and he refuses to pay up. Now he's like, oh, I'll do for 2 days. Now it's like, bro, I've made people look like Pokemon. I've made people look like random cartoon characters, a reindeer before, and you're just not going to pay up? I got so much work. I got people following me on Twitter. Yeah, well, you didn't mind when you almost got canceled a few weeks ago. So, I don't want to hear it that this is what you're afraid of. Well, it didn't
buried
stop
himself in work after he got blown up on Twitter.
Okay,
exactly. So he's just
so I have some quotes in this that I'd like to explain, please, as I just got trashed in the article. So Danny Duffy is an emerging ace. You know what? I'll take that on the chin. Just incorrect. for
Are you gonna
many
take
reasons.
John Means too.
John Means called him an emerging ace. Incorrect
Yeah.
for many reasons. I was personally fooled by the sticky stuff. I was fooled. I talked about James Karinchak being the best reliever. Danny Duffy had like a 2 ERA. And then but me being me, I forgot that Danny Duffy is low-key 32 years old and there's just no way that he's emerging. But for some reason, I always thought he was like in his 20s, even though he's just not. The next one, which I will definitely wear on the chin, and this is less like me being stupid and more just like I was actually genuinely surprised. Kevin Gausman being the Kevin Gausman that he is. I was out on Kevin Gausman at the beginning. When he started that train, I was just like, I don't see this continuing. That way off. And as we move, I was just so off on Kevin Gausman. I mean, that I have no explanation. Man. I was just
for
off.
Me. I didn't do that because we've all been off on players that broke out. The Danny Duffy thing was more than just believing he was good. It's just that you called him an emerging ace at 32. And it's been like an ongoing thing in our chat. It's him and John Means. I didn't include John Means in this. There's a bunch of takes I wish I could have included in this. I would say this award, the Golden Peanut, I'd say the Golden Peanut, the Weirdo, and the Rule Breaker are ones that I'm going to try my best to have back when we run it back for future volumes. Volume 2 of the Alternative Awards, maybe a playoff edition is what I might have to do next. But let's just say, everyone, watch yourself in the group chat because I got my eye on all of you. And look, like I said, I'm coward. I thought I wanted him to include one with Jack. If he had, then we would have had a little bit more that wasn't just Peter bashing. And I just want to throw it out there. I also mentioned that everyone put, what was it, Jared Kelenic Jared Kelenic in their like top 15 of top 25 players under 25 in this article that never got published on Just Baseball. Great website. But I just want to throw it out there. Everybody had like Brian Hayes at 5, like just the slurpage, as Mike Wilbon would say, that was going on around these guys who, I mean, Brian Hayes has played before. He's an asset for sure. But like right now, I thought you all were crazy. And then granted, I also put Victor Robles in my top 25 in some place. So maybe we all deserve blame in some way because I, for some reason, believe in that guy. I don't know why. But anyway, that's what happens.
Man. Javi, you want to stick around for the outro?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
This is exciting. This is my least favorite part of the show because it means I have to say bye to Peter, and today it means I have to say bye to you.
I miss you, Jack.
Shut up, bro. You called Danny Duffy an emerging ace. You have no ground to stand on.
It's just.
Am I the only one with incorrect takes here?
No, that's why I feel bad. Here. Everyone send me ones, screenshot them for the next Golden Peanut, and don't mention it. You know what I mean? Like, just keep them in your back pocket and then send them to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you're a leak.
I will mention this one because it's probably in our rear view mirror, but Peter called Karinchak the 3rd best reliever in baseball. I called him the best reliever. So I'll take that one on the chin. Absolutely.
And it can't just be something I like. The funnier they are, the better. Because you know what's good? There's a difference between having a wrong take versus like a devastatingly wrong take.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's actually kind of fun as long as it's not about serious things. Like say it's about sports, right? You don't want to be wrong about actual real issues. That's bad. And like you deserve a lot of the fervor coming your way sometimes. But when you say something, if back in the day you're like, Jose Bautista is completely overrated, and then he hits like 50 bombs. Like that's pretty funny. You know what I mean? Like it's funny to be disastrously wrong sometimes, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. He is at Peter Apple 23 on Twitter, and then Javi is at Javi Peno on Twitter. Can you spell that for us?
JAVIIPENO.
There we go. I'm Jack_McMullen 11 on Twitter. We're at Just Baseball Fans on TikTok and Instagram, twitch.tv/JustBaseball, to the moon on Twitch, and then on Twitter.
Freaking moon.
Super Mario Baseball coming soon from your boy. I can't wait till I can get that started.
Doodle Jump coming from me. Doodle Jump on Twitch. And then we are at Just BB Media on Twitter. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. Comment, tell us what you like. Leave a 1-star review. Comment, tell us what you absolutely hate about us on Apple
Please,
Podcast.
no 1-star reviews, please.
Yeah, actually, don't do that. It drives our overall rating down. So, I don't know. Just like DM us or something and tell us that we suck. That's probably a little bit better.
Yeah, just a tad better. Just a tad better. I mean, you guys don't get too much hate. Jack, again, you pick your spots on Twitter. Yeah, you pick your spots on Twitter, too. You don't tweet too much. But when he does,
and I will
he does it
say
great.
that I pick my spots in this group text, and my disdain for this one baseball media personality is totally justified because he just does not say anything of value at any point ever. So
this is great. And now you're gonna get everybody on TikTok and commenting, like guessing who it is. And
yes,
honestly,
I
don't think they'll get it. I don't think they'll get
out.
it. We won't like it, by the way, because we're not trying to put anybody on blast.
We
here.
might.
except for Aram with what's his face, who just again, don't get me wrong, Aram is a coward in some areas. Everyone also, please go tweet at him to pay back on our wager, please. I'm starting this movement now. That's another thing. I've been sneaking into every article, and he edits out every time I call him a coward for not paying me back. I think he took out from this one too. I put him in the Just Baseball staff one, but yeah, please go message him on there, and yeah, comment who you think it is. I just want to see what everybody guesses.
Thank you, everybody.